Alrighty, and we're on.
All right.
So I'm here with Chris Casaceli here today, and we're sitting at Gracie Sutherland Shire. And I was just commenting, they've got brand new mats. It's like, pretty flash joint.
Yep, everything's new. We started here at the start of the year. Pretty exciting stuff. We were just outgrowing our last place at Miranda, but no complaints. Everything's awesome.
Yep. All right. So before we'll get to the jiu-jitsu journey, but I'm a bit curious about where you grew up and what life was like for you growing up. Like, whereabouts did you grow up? And
I've always been in the Sutherland Shire. Grew up in Caringbah and Cronulla, and went to school at Dealer, and life's been awesome. Honestly, very spoiled kid.
Yeah. So, do you have any fond memories of things that happened when you were growing up, or any funny stories that you want to share?
Oh, I was always a bit of like a angry little kid, I suppose. That's sort of how I got into jiu-jitsu. I played footy, and I was playing rugby league and rugby union at the same time, and I was always just this little, macho man who just wanted to tackle and just have fun. But that's sort of how I got into jiu-jitsu.
Yep.
But probably the most fond memory, character building, I should say, was getting stung by a stingray.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it went straight through my arm.
No way.
Yeah, and it was like a week after Steve Irwin died, so I made the paper and all this sort of stuff, which was fun.
How old were you when that happened?
Oh, it was just before I started jiu-jitsu. I was probably 11.
11.
Yeah.
And so you got to tell me this story. So what were you doing? You were surfing or something? Or
Nah, we're just like playing some footy out the front of like Gunnersbury Bay, and I was just crawling in the sand, and you're supposed to shuffle in like little shallow like beachy waters, and then just came up, shot straight through my arm.
And did you, at the time, what was going through your mind? So
I was in so much pain. It was so bad.
do you have a scar or anything still? Or?
The tiniest little one there. I don't know if you can see.
Oh yeah, there's a little mark there. Yeah.
It was.
So what so its tail just whipped up and it hit you.
It just went straight through, and I was shaking it around. I had to rip it out and throw it. It was
so
traumatizing.
the stingray was actually the tail was stuck in your arm, and you're flinging the stingray around.
Yeah.
It would have been freaking out just as much as you though.
Oh, we were both traumatized, I think.
And you were 11 at the time.
I was 11. Yeah.
Yeah. So then, were your parents there or anything, or like what?
Nah, it was a birthday party. So I think that my mate's dad ended up taking me up to the hospital, and then my parents met me there, and Mum was just beside herself. Yeah.
What have you done?
Yeah, I know.
Was she blaming you for it?
She was.
Why did you go and grab the stingray?
She was very upset. She contacted the newspaper, and then I was on the leader.
Oh wow! Okay,
Yeah.
that's a pretty good highlight.
Yeah, yeah.
So, for you growing up, did you have any siblings or anything?
I've got an older sister.
Yep.
Older sister, about
many
6
years
years apart.
Wow.
Yeah.
So she would have looked after you quite a bit too, then.
Oh, we had our moments. Like, we're very close now. I walked her down the aisle last year, so we're a lot closer now. But growing up, older sisters and younger brothers, I was probably just a little pest and a punish. But yeah.
How was that for you, to walk your sister down the aisle?
It was good. It was really good. Like, I lost my dad when early 20s, so, I know he would have been proud. But, yeah, it was nice. It was good.
Yeah.
Her husband's a very nice guy.
Yep. If you don't mind me asking, what happened with your old man?
It was a rare blood cancer called MDS, like a rare form of leukemia.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so then, do you remember much about what happened? Obviously, in your 20s, you probably would, right? So, was it you came home one day and then, or mum and dad rang you and they said, "Hey, Chris, got to let you know that."
Or when he passed, or when we found out.
When you found out.
Yeah, they were pretty. They were pretty it's just this thing we're going through. Like, they didn't want to make it a big deal. I don't remember Dad complaining much at all, which was really good. Like, he sort of wanted to protect us a bit, but they sort of played it down a bit for what it was, just so we could, not sort of think about it too much. But I just, it happened pretty fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then, do you remember how long it took, when they sort of let you know that there was something up to when he passed?
Maybe 4 to 6 months.
4 to 6 months.
So it was pretty quick.
It's quick, yeah.
Yeah.
And for you, I guess, speaking about your relationship with your dad, what was that like for you growing up, and what kind of a figure was he for you in your life?
Oh, he was the man. He was just all class, really. He was very different to me. Like, was just a hard worker. Didn't really, didn't play too much sport or anything like that. And, you know, I've never really seen him in an argument with anyone, you know, just unlike me. But he was just very supportive and, you know, took me to and from the gym, training for years. So, you know, when I got my black belt, which was obviously after he passed, that was a pretty emotional time for me, just thinking about all those times and everything. So, yeah, it was good.
Yeah. So then, do you remember what your dad did for work? Like, what was he doing when you were
Yeah,
growing
so he ran motels, fruit shops, cafes, strata management, worked for my grandfather a lot as well, just in hospitality mainly.
Yeah.
Yeah, market stalls in the end.
Casaceli is like a Italian background?
Yeah.
So he's doing really wog type of jobs, fruit markets.
I know. Straight out.
He's straight into the stereotype.
Straight out.
But, you know, like he can, I think, like, you know, anyone that can sort of visualize that, you can sort of picture that, you know, that Italian dude that works
100%,
the markets, you know,
100%.
Get your cherries, or that kind of stuff.
But it was very Aussie. Like, I loved fishing, you know, loved footy, like, loved watching footy. But I don't know. I feel like we've all had very Australian accents.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. But it's funny, like, yeah, when you talk about you being the guy that's, you know, a bit of a, what's the right word, you know, you're able to arc up kind of a thing.
No,
but you know, that's also a wog stereotype too.
Definitely, 100%.
So then, you know, the reason why I asked this is I actually lost my dad last December. So I'm just a little bit curious about, you know, when your dad passed away, what was that like for you emotionally?
Oh, I went off the rails, honestly.
Yeah.
Just partying a lot and drinking and just lost my way a bit. Then I ended up going 2 years sober. Yep. And just training, and I got to travel, went to Abu Dhabi, Tokyo. I was going to go to LA, but I ended up not going to LA. Just trained hard for 2 years and was great because it was literally right just before COVID as well.
Wow.
I did that stint. Yep. So, like, very grateful I did that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I guess part of the reason why, you know, sometimes we go off the rails is, you know, it's a bit of avoidance, right? Like, you don't want to really confront some of those feelings.
Yeah.
And it probably made it a little bit harder that they sort of played it down and then, you know, suddenly he's gone. Like, did you feel like there were things that you didn't get to say, or?
Oh, look. It's a tough one to think about because we had such a good relationship where I didn't feel like I had to hold back or not say anything that I wanted to say, really. But obviously, like, it just happened so quick, and, you know, there's always, it hasn't been a day I haven't thought about him, probably same with you, you know what I mean? But I don't know, just, you know, there's always things you want to say or ask. Yeah. So I still ask him. Yeah. I don't get responses, but, you know, it is what it is, I guess.
Well, you might see some of those signs in other areas of your life, though. You know, like it's one of those things. It's like, you know, when people say, oh, you know, you talk to God or you talk to whoever, it's like, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to give you the same physical response that you and I having this conversation could have. Yeah. But, like, you might see it elsewhere in your life, right? And, you know, part of it is it could be like a little bit of confirmation bias where, you know, because you're already believing that, you know, you're going to see this sign, that perhaps you see this sign, or you read into things that maybe you shouldn't. But at the same time, it's like, if you don't look for it, you never find it anyway. So I like to sort of, you know, share a little bit about how my dad's story. So he got diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in October. And that was literally like, I think it was like Wednesday, the last week of October or something. And then I was going to go visit him on the weekend. And then by the weekend, he actually already had a stroke. So I had already, like, written all these notes about, like, the things that I wanted to ask him. And I was going to, like, you know, it had been 5 years since I did the last episode with him. I wanted to do another podcast episode with him and ask him all these questions. And I had everything written down, and I got there on the Sunday, and my brother had warned me the night before. He said, oh, Dad's not lucid. And I said, what do you mean? And he goes, oh, you'll see when you go tomorrow. And, like, it seemed really sad because the only words he could say were things like files, tax and folders. He was an accountant for majority of his life. So I spent that afternoon with him, and I realised that he still understood everything I was saying to him. It's just that if any noun, like he might say, he might be trying to say, what's the time? He'd be pointing at the clock but saying, what's the file? Wow. I was like, fuck, like, okay, I understand what you want to know now, kind of a thing. And it took me a while to sort of like, you sort of just really channeling like that being empathetic to the guy and trying to really like understand what he's trying to say. And I could sort of just decipher some of the things that he was saying. And he was like, he'd be asking me about my kids and like, things like, he'd ask like, what's their folder or something like that. But he meant like, what are their ages now? And like, having those sorts of conversations with him, and like, fuck, like for me, it was very, obviously, I was probably already grieving, because you could sort of see the end is coming. Yeah. And I think, in that part of it, like it's probably not, it's, even though like cancer's a shit thing, like that's probably the blessing of it, is that, you don't hold back in terms of the things that you say. So, like I said everything that I need to say to my dad, and like I think he understood, and, we shared our moments, and then he was meant to start chemo on the Monday, and then took him to the hospital, obviously, and then at the time, we didn't know he had a stroke. Like, we just thought maybe he'd gone a bit like loopy from the diagnosis. Yeah. And then the doctor looked at him and goes, oh, you got to take him to emergency. So I spent, the next day, 12 hours with him, taking him to emergency and waiting for that to sort of get all diagnosed. And then, it turned out he had a stroke, and so he had 3-4 weeks in the hospital. Obviously, hated the hospital, wanted to just get out. And then got to spend, a few weeks at home, and then passed away just after Christmas. So, that was sort of my experience with it. I guess for me, when I reflect on the grief aspect of that, it was like, because I sort of knew that time was coming, I'd already like said everything that I wanted to say. And so from that perspective, like, for me, I felt like there was this moment, and I've shared this story once before, but like the day that my dad passed away, it was actually my third daughter's birthday. And so we had already had lunch plans. So my mum had called me in the morning, and she said my older brother was going to go over and check on dad, because he'd gone to the bathroom and become unresponsive. Wow. And so I was like, obviously in my own little world and thinking about obviously my dad and stuff like that. But I'm out there watering the garden, and I think my mum or my brother someone messaged, I think it was my mum, and she sent like a picture, or my brother might have messaged and sent me a picture of like the paramedics there. And I'm watering the garden, and I looked up at like, there's these 2 trees in my neighbour's backyard, and I looked up between the trees, and I just had this feeling like my dad had come to say goodbye to me, like his spirit was there. And I just said, it's okay, Dad, you can go. And I just dropped the hose and burst into tears. Wow, I'm sorry, man. Yeah. And then I went inside, and I told my son, Harley, come over, and, I gave him a cuddle, and I just said, your grandfather's gone. And he goes, how do you know? And I said, I just know. And then like literally 5 minutes later, my brother messaged and said that the paramedics have been trying to resuscitate him for the last 11 minutes. But there's been no electrical activity in his heart. And so, yeah, like I think, when I sort of think about it, it's like, to me at least, it felt like he like, because I said, it's okay, Dad, you can go. Like, I'm not going to hold you here, right? Like, he can leave without regrets, kind of thing. Yeah. Because I think, a lot of the times, if you do hold regrets in your heart, like, it's a pretty heavy thing to pass away with, right? Like, whenever anyone dies, the only thing we ever wish is that they rest in peace, right? So I guess, yeah, for me, like, and there was some hard, like, moments after he'd passed away, and, where you think about things, and you realise how trivial, some of the arguments you had over the years were, and, like, it didn't really matter anymore, right? Nah. Yeah. 100%. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah. So, I guess, what that's why I was curious about your experience with it, because I think everybody goes through, their own form of dealing with the grief, right? So it's kind of interesting to hear, you had that sort of opposite experience where you sort of, got into the partying and all that sort of stuff to sort of get away from it, right? No, 100%, yeah.
just that footy culture of mates as well. It's just very easy to fall into.
Yeah.
You know, being around here, it's just so easy to just, you know, oh yeah, we'll go for a beer and come back Sunday.
Free bender. So, and I know we sort of jumped forward a bit, but I to sort of tie off that thread there, like, what do you think helped you to sort of pull you out of that? Like, did you just get to this point where I'm like, I can't just keep doing this, or was it friends, or was it what was it?
Oh, I don't know. I feel like I've got like a all or nothing sort of personality. Whether like, you know, I'm training hard, cold showers, doing everything by the book, or I'm the other way around. You know what I mean? I'm still struggling to find that balance, you know, of life. But, you know, a couple mates pulled me up and like, man, like, you know, wasting your talent, you know, just doing this and that. And I'd always find my way back in or out, but always happy just working hard, training hard. That's why like Subversion's really helped me a lot. It's just like, okay, cool, got a couple months to knuckle down, rip in, work hard, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Play by the book.
Well, I think you probably had the most appearances on Subversion. Shout out to Matt and George.
Matt and George, yeah. Gentlemen. Yeah.
So, okay, well, let's go through that, because I think it's kind of cool to reflect on, you know, all the different Subversion appearances. Yeah. Do you remember what your first match was? What was your first match on Subversion?
My first match was the first ever Subversion. It was a quintet. It was a purple belt quintet. And so I represented Gracie Sutherland, but I actually didn't even make the team.
Oh, what?
Nah, so Jacob Malkoon, Izzy Fitakefu, we did the tryouts at Gracie Bankstown. And for some reason, I think that they just got told that they had a fight. And so two of them had to pull out. So Sammy Backy, do you know Sammy Backy?
Yeah, Sammy. Yeah, he's been on the podcast before.
Yeah. Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's
and he called me up. He's like, Chris, like, what are you doing this Arvo? We had like 2 late pullouts. I'm like, oh, nothing. I was like eating a burger or something. I'm like, yeah, I'm cold down. Yeah, and so that was it. I had that first match was a draw, but just come in, just double legged him, and it was fun. And do you know Felix Chow?
Yeah.
Like we have Felix Chow, man.
Wizard.
He is unbelievable. He's unreal. Yeah. I think he took out like 8 guys by himself.
Yeah. No, I have to get Felix on at some point. He's a wizard, right? So.
He's a wizard, man. He's a wizard.
Yeah. Okay. So, and then, you know, that sort of started the relationship with Subversion, but, you know, they obviously keep asking you to come back. I think you probably won the most amount of takedown of the night bonuses. Shout out to Julian, Learn Options AI, you know, putting up the money.
100%. I always get a biased opinion with Julian.
The hookup. But no, like some of those takedowns, I've you know been to quite a few of the Subversion events, so always, you know, you're getting some good airtime on some people when you land in that double leg.
Definitely. That's, you know, I don't mind being known for that, you know.
Yeah. It makes it exciting, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So okay, let's go back a little bit more. So I want to sort of get to this experience that you had on the Crew.
The Crew TV show, yeah. So that was a Bra Boys production with Mark Matthews, who's a big wave surfer, Kid Mac, who is a music producer, and Richie Vass, who's obviously big wave surfer and UFC veteran, who I had the pleasure of growing up and training with, and just sort of that was my ticket in. Yeah.
So, okay, so sort of before that, right? So when you were going through school, did you have any idea what you wanted to do?
Honestly, I was loving footy. I was loving rugby league, rugby union. I think my parents were like, I had some friends that were going to go to St. Joseph's, play rugby union, and just board out there and stuff. And when I started jiu-jitsu through my best mate Shane Doyle, shout out to Shane Doyle, getting married in a couple of weeks. He just brought me along and he flogged me. and I was just like, wow, like I always thought I was going to beat this guy. You know what I mean? And so he stopped. He was a good boxer. He ended up stopping jiu-jitsu, came back. And that was it for him. Yeah. He always had it from then on. But just starting out with the jiu-jitsu, just how these guys were, and like I was lucky that I got into it before it was cool. You know what I mean? Back in 2009, but I just sort of fell into that. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So then, 2009. So were you still in school when you found it?
I was in I was just starting year 7. Yeah.
Wow. So you started young.
Started when I was 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, you know, so your dad would take you obviously to classes and things like that.
Yeah, every day, back and forth. Same with mum.
Yep.
So, yeah.
And so then did that quickly sort of become the thing that you wanted to focus on? Because it's addictive, right? Like even as a kid, you're like you once you get into that training mindset and it's just like, yeah, I want to keep going. I want to keep going. I want to keep going.
And you know, a big part of it too was the culture. Like all I wanted to do was impress the older boys. Like we had bra boys, UFC fighters, all these like, you know, really cool, humble dudes that were just tough as nails. And I was just like, you know, when I was in year 9, I got my cauliflower ear. Haven't drained it. Haven't drained my right ear. And I just had all this like, you know, support and respect off the boys. All I wanted to do was just keep showing up, keep training hard. You know what I mean? I feel like the culture has a big thing to do with a good gym, you know?
Yeah. So, and it's just that when it comes to that and ending up in the right gym, sometimes it's just, you know, a bit of circumstance. You end up lucky that you end up at the right gym, right? Like there's a lot of people that go to maybe their local gym, but perhaps the local gym's got some red flags, but you don't know because you don't know any better unless you've been to a few different gyms, right? But
definitely.
Sometimes if you're lucky, you end up at the right place and it's got the right culture and it's actually beneficial for your life, right?
Yeah, and mate, it's changed so many people's lives. Like I've been lucky to have worked at obviously Gracie Sutherland Shire, Gracie Miranda, Smeaton Grange, Artarmon. I've met so many cool people, all walks of life. That's the thing with jiu-jitsu, you know what I mean? Like, it could be anyone.
Yeah.
And everyone's rolling with each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Is there any, I guess, you know, from that young age, right, are there any funny stories? Like, how did you get your collie? Like, was it from someone in the gi rubbing it?
Oh, mate, I've got no idea. I got no idea. I just remember just getting like a standing ovation from some of the boys at TP. It was TP Gym. Do you remember TP Gym?
TP Gym, no.
Checo and Alex Barthez
gym okay.
back here. But I just remember I was just like, no, never draining it. Big regrets now.
Did your parents say anything? Like yeah, it's huge, right?
My parents like, what the hell?
What are you doing? Yeah.
It was bad. Yeah.
But for you, it was like, when you were that age, it was like, oh, that's my badge.
That was my trophy.
Yeah.
100%.
And now it's like, I can't fit my earbuds in.
Nah. These feel nice, but.
Yeah? Yeah, these feel all right. They're over ear, right? It was the ones that had to go in you, you'd be struggling. Okay, and so then in high school, like, you know, what sort of kid were you in high school? Were you getting in trouble a lot, or were you a good kid? Or
I was a good kid, but, you know, parent-teacher would probably be like easily distracted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's standard.
That's standard, yeah. But nah, like, I've always hung out with really cool people, you know, always good boys and girls. I never really found myself in any serious trouble.
Yep. And so then when you finished high school, like what did you have in your mind that you were going to do?
I always wanted to fight, honestly. I always wanted to fight, but I fell into a trade, motor and marine trimmer. So I was doing motor and marine trimming for about
leather and
6 years.
Upholstery and stuff.
So the boss of that, Brian Doyle, he owns Sylvania Boxing now.
Yep.
So Doyle's Boxing. It's Sylvania, and he was Rob Whittaker's boxing coach. And so I was sort of like he was always so good. Like if I ever had to go and travel or compete, I could take a bit of time off work or this and that, always showing support. He was like my silent sponsor. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I was very lucky with that, and I did enjoy the trade. It was hard. It wasn't for me though. Yeah. That's for sure.
So hang on. Is Doyle's Boxing the same people that have the Doyle's Upholstery?
Well, yeah, that was his business beforehand.
All right, I never put that together until this now. Yeah,
yes, that's where I used to work.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I didn't realize that it was the same family, right?
No,
but yeah, so Doyle's Boxing's been around for a while, and obviously Doyle's Upholstery. Like I was in the auto trade, so we knew them. You know, like
really?
from dealing with like Doyle's for people that wanted to do.
What did you do?
So I did a whole bunch of different things, but I started as an apprentice mechanic.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, did my trade. I studied at uni as well, and then worked my way through the industry, and then I was running car businesses. I was dealer principal at MacArthur BMW as the last auto job that I was in before I left the industry.
Wow.
But yeah, so yeah, I've had a very fortunate, career from that.
No, cool. Awesome.
And, there's one thing, like, you've always got a trade behind you, right? Like, it's one of those things. So, doing that trade, it's like you've always got a trade behind you. Whether you want to go back to it or not is a different story.
That's it, yeah. 100%.
What was, out of curiosity, what was your apprenticeship experience like,
Mate, Brian was a tough boss. Beautiful man, beautiful guy, tough boss, I enjoyed it because he really instilled a good work ethic in me, I feel. Do you know what I mean? And I just sort of never wanted to let him down. And yeah, there was always something to do. That's one thing I realised, even if we're quiet or whatever, there's always something we can do.
It's when you get the broom and you start cleaning.
Oh, mate. 100%. But nah, I had great memories there, good times, got to drive so many different cars and, met some cool people as well.
Were there any sort of interesting things that you learnt from the trade? Like maybe it's a trick when it came to upholstery or something like that? Like did you have a favourite material to work with? Was leather easier? Was cloth easier? What was sort of...
Yeah, look, I love fitting. Do you know what I mean? So take the covers off and put them back on. The sewing, I don't know if it's because I'm not that patient. I feel like I am patient, but I wasn't the best sewer, but I could fit. I like fitting and wrestling the seats and moving them around. You know what I mean? That little bit of anxiety you get trying to take the seat out of the car without scratching. You know what I mean? I like that, and it was hard work. It was good. You know what I mean? Always work and always, it was physical. You know.
There's something that's nice about jobs that are tangible, like when you had finished reupholstering a seat or something like that, and it fit nice and it looked good and it felt nice, like it smelled the fresh material. I think there's something tangible about that where you just go, yeah, that was a good job. Yeah,
no, 100%.
Yeah,
you always feel good.
Yeah. So then, so was he? So the Dawes family would have been your boxing coach as well, then, right?
Brian has been probably the first guy to ever hold pads for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, it's a shame because I've still never had a fight under Brian.
Really?
I would love to. That's my goal. That's my goal this year, and he knows that. I'd love to get a few more fights under the belt, possibly even a pro boxing fight. Why not?
Yep.
But, yeah, he's, introduced me to, Johnny Lewis, a few good guys like that, and he's always been around, always my secret cornerman, you know what I mean? Always has my back, which is good.
So then, for you, learning boxing and all that sort of stuff. So where were you training?
Originally at TP Gym. I've trained at TP Gym. Yeah. I've trained at Stand Strong Boxing with Justin Fitzgerald, Camo Johnson. Oh, who else? David Birchall. Do you remember David Birchall? Mm-hmm. Yeah, far out. Train with a lot of guys. Ollie Garris, he trains here now too.
Okay.
He was one of the striking guys. So, yeah, just.
And so, what made you get into boxing and things like that? Because obviously, a lot of times when people just do they start with jiu-jitsu, a lot of times they stay with jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing obviously thinking about some of the people that you train with, there's a lot of MMA fighters, right? So,
no, 100%.
So that probably encouraged you to.
Well, that's the thing. TP Gym, when I first started, it wasn't a jiu-jitsu gym; it was an MMA gym. So it was just one of those things where I was doing jiu-jitsu, boxing, wrestling, bit of Muay Thai, and my friends were boxing, and I wanted to have a few amateur fights. I fought amateur boxing at 15. 18, 21, 24, I always seemed to find my way back in, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was just, as long as I've done jiu-jitsu, I've boxed.
Yeah.
Obviously not as consistent and competed as much, but I've always boxed since I've started, which I've loved,
It's good because it works out a different set of muscles, right?
Yeah, look, and it's just good to break it up a little bit, something a bit different, you know? Not saying doing one is repetitive or this and that, but I just like the different aspect. You're right. It's just a different fitness altogether.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. I always talk about there's almost it's a different gas tank altogether.
Yeah.
Like a grappling gas tank, a pure grappling gas tank is different. And even say the gas tank for playing on the ground versus a wrestling gas tank is a different gas tank as well.
It's different. Runners can't swim, swimmers can't run. You know what I mean? Like, you get all these fit guys coming in as soon as they touch hands or whatever. Like, they're gassed. I love seeing it, you know.
It's funny though, isn't it? Because like a lot of times people think that cardio is cardio.
Yeah,
but it's not all equal.
No, I got no idea.
Yeah, it's the efficiency in the movement, right? Like you're not. You could have the best, you know, be a triathlete as an example, but if you're not efficient at like wrestling, you're gonna get gassed just because you don't know how to use your body and use your muscles. And
it's just getting used to that adrenaline too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're on the road, you're running or whatever. Like, that's just you. But you got to think about, this guy's trying to choke me out. If I'm not switched on, or, you know, and that little bit of ego comes into it too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody coming off the show, everyone, I don't want to bring ego into it, but everyone does a little bit. You know what I mean? It's just a part of the sport.
Well, I think you also you need to have it, otherwise you're just going to get pumped every session.
Yeah, no, right? Totally, 100%.
Everybody's got that limit, like where you got to go. Okay, now I've got to give it back. Yeah, right. Like everybody has to find where that limit is.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, because it's not fun if you're just always getting crushed.
Yeah,
and if you're comfortable getting crushed, and you're just like, yeah, I'm okay here.
Oh man, but that's how you're gonna get better. You know what I mean? Pick that one guy in the gym that's always getting you. I don't tell anyone, and then you just think, okay, once I get that guy, got that guy. Who's the next guy? That's how you're gonna progress. I feel, especially if you want to compete. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Otherwise, just show up, have fun.
Yeah. So for you, like, has competition always been something that, you know, you've been interested in? Like, was it just instilled in you from a young age, or was it? I
don't know. I just makes me feel alive, to be honest. I love it. I love it, you know. It just gives me goals, you know. It just keeps me on a straight arrow, makes me feel good. You know, I've probably lost more than I've won throughout all the years. I don't know, but, you know, that just makes all the wins much sweeter. You know what I mean? But I love winning.
Do you get nerves or anxiety anymore? Like, you've competed so much. You 100%, still get it?
Yeah. And I like that, because that just means I care. You know what I mean? If I wasn't that nervous, like, I'm not shitting myself, but if I'm not nervous, then that's when I'm a bit worried, thinking, you know, I'm not prepared, or, you know, why aren't I a little nervous? Because that's just when I feel like, you know, the body's warming up. Yeah. You know?
And it's funny, like, there's this subconscious thing where, you know, when you do have that, as that competition date gets closer, like, your body knows subconsciously.
No, 100%.
Your heart rate starts to sit a little bit higher. Like, it's all primed and everything's like getting to that system where it's like it's ready to go.
Definitely. Start feeling a little dangerous.
Yeah. Well, I always, you know, I had a coach once say to me, like, the most dangerous fighter in the gym is the guy that's just won. Like, when he's just won, and, like, you know, he feels like he's untouchable, and then he comes back into the gym for sparring, and it's just like, fuck, you don't want to spar that guy right now, because he's peaking right now.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And look, I'm like, I have been overthinking this one as well, because I have lost my last two against Josh Kulabau, Jamie Malaki. Yeah. And especially with the rule set we had to do, we weren't allowed to attack legs, which is hard, because it's like, these guys, all they train for is to be in a position where you can hit, not get scramble. Hit. So even if they get on top, it's just like, I can't really invert underneath and try it for a leg entanglement, because we're not allowed. UFC wouldn't allow it. Yeah. So that was just the thing. Like, whoever got on top was gonna look good there. You know, lost decision to Josh, and you know, I don't know if you watched the Jamie Malaki match, but he felt just strong as an ox, and all love to Jamie. Like, he was on the TV show as well. Yeah. So I've known him for years, and I just thought it'd be a good idea at the time to call him out. But no, it was fun to catch up with him. But yeah, this match now is going to be all black belt IBJJF, so we're going to tackle legs and everything. And so I'm working hard with Owen and some of the boys to, you know, get back in leg attack mode and defense mode. Especially, it's not really my game, but fuck, you got to know it, man. Yeah, you know, you got to know it. You know. Yeah, well, you need to have that that cross section across the whole all the different aspects of the sport. 100%.
Right? Like, even if you know, Josh and Jamie, you know, weren't going to use that in the skill set, like, it's like you still need to know it. And even as MMA fighters, they still need to know that skill set too.
No, definitely.
Because in pro, like, you know, there's some of these younger guys that that are coming through in the pro MMA scene, and you see them hit like Imanari rolls and end up in leg entanglement straight away.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just one of those ones. If you don't know it,
that's it. It's fear of the unknown. People panic in certain positions. You know what I mean? Like, so do I. Got real bad knees. No, I don't. Sam Trash. But like, it's just one of those things you just got to be prepared for, or at least have a bit of a feeling and just be confident. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Comfortable.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things, you know.
When it's come to you and developing your skill set, like, how have you sort of approached it for yourself? You know, are you the kind of guy that likes to study? Is it just working with different bodies and people? Like, how do you approach your own development?
That's a good question. I feel, honestly, I don't like to. I feel like if I look up the guy too much or anything like that, I psych myself out. I like to know a little bit. Like, apparently, the guy I'm versing coming up, he likes doing flying arm bars and flying triangles, and it's just totally opposite to me. I'm just like you know what I mean, like a ball. But it's just going to be fundamentals versus fancy. But when sort of prepping for a match, mate, I like to set out at the start of the week the sessions I'm going to do, what I'm going to eat. You know, I try to get in the sleeping rhythm and just try to play everything by the book. You know, just try to be a bit healthier, cold showers, just things like that, you know what I mean? But when it comes to training partners as well, like, I've got some great training partners here. I'll go venture out back to Smeaton Grange, train with some of the boys out there, and just to get just those little extra things, you know, try not to leave any stone unturned. Running, swimming, you know, I haven't done much weights this time, but because I get to compete 3 kilos lighter than what I usually do, which is my weight, which is exciting.
Yep.
So, I don't know, I just haven't really been bothered with the weights. Just felt like getting more grappling in is probably going to be beneficial instead of 1 and 1. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's like 80-20 rule, right? You want to say 80% doing the sport and keeping your strength and cardio applicable to the sport. And then the 20% you can then go and add in those other things that mix things up for you.
100%. I'm still trying to figure that out, I think, because like the last couple of camps I was doing weights 4 days a week, and you know, I was like body sore, and I was just getting just enough time to do my other sessions. But I feel like this time around I'm just getting a lot more rounds in, you know. Hopefully they're just going to rely on the timing, and because he's not going to be as big as Josh and Jamie this time around too. So I feel like I'm probably going to be, you know, just as strong, if not stronger, hopefully, you know. One
of the things that, you know, whenever I've seen Jamie and been close to him, it's just like the frame on the guy, like he's a big dude. He's a big dude, 100%. And he's got like long arms, and it's just like
he's a love you, Jamie, but you're a rough looking dude, man.
It's not to say Josh is small, but it's just to say that Jamie is a big dude.
He's a bit bigger, yeah. But Josh is surprisingly really strong.
Yeah,
that's one thing that I felt, and he's just crafty too. You know, I feel like his cardio was he just didn't stop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At the start, initially, I felt like I could match his strength and everything, and I did for a bit, and then, you know, just bang, bang, just on me.
Josh is powered by KFC.
He is, yeah. Did you see him coming out in his KFC thing? I'm like, there's no way I'm losing to this guy.
All that fried chicken. Yeah, he's keto hard.
100%.
So, okay. Just to sort of go back to your story a little bit, because we'll get into the crew thing. But so you spent 6 years as doing the upholstery and trimming and things like that. Did you work any other jobs after that?
I was a bouncer at the Orient in the Rocks for a little bit, just for, you know, a few months, and at the Hotel Bondi.
There's got to be some stories there. Come on,
mate. Honestly, I was pretty lucky. Obviously, we had to try and pull some people out. You know, St. Paddy's Day at the Orient was pretty gnarly last year. Just a lot of drunk people, but Hotel Bondi, you know, you get a lot of foreigners come in, and they're a bit wild, but. Yeah, it's just the way you just got to talk to people. You know what I mean? Some guys I worked with they just wanted to be, you know, they just wanted confrontation all the time. But if you just talk to them, you know, can sort it out. Or
Yeah.
talk to their mates about, look, I'm gonna have to kick him out or whatever. And they're usually pretty good. You know, they're just people.
Yeah. It's funny, Rod Ellis, who's been on the podcast, he was telling me the story about, because he did some bouncing as well.
Southern Cross guy.
Southern Cross, yeah.
He was full into it.
Yeah, and he was telling me, you know, like, so obviously he's, you know, judo, jiu-jitsu background, but one of his people that was also bouncing with him was Kevin Blanche, who was a K1 kickboxer, and he was telling a story about how, like, you know, totally different styles, right? Like, because if you think about it, a striking guy, like, his way of subduing you is to knock you out. Yeah, it's to knock you out, right?
Yeah.
Whereas the jiu-jitsu methodology to subduing somebody is, you know, get them in a form of control. You know, you can put them to sleep if you need to, but, you know, you don't have to go and smack them in the head or knock them out.
No, 100%.
So it's quite funny when you think about that, like, you know, you as a, you know, with that jiu-jitsu background, to go and, you know, be a bit more calm, to go and say, look, mate, like
I'm not big, so I got to.
Has anybody sort of, you know, you ever had to kick out some bigger guys and they sort of looked at you and go, what are you going to do?
Oh, yeah, look, like, there has been a couple times where we had to, you know, literally pull people out, you know?
Yeah.
But sometimes, you know, the cauliflower ears get you in trouble and they can get you out of trouble.
Yeah.
You know what
People
I mean?
looked at it and they're going, oh, no, fuck, we're out.
100%, you know? But you just let them know what they're doing. And they're usually, like, majority of the time, they're usually pretty good, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And so then, aside from the bouncing, like, that's pretty much it. And now it's just coaching, right?
Yeah. What else did I do? I used to work for my uncle who owns all the Costi Seafoods.
Oh, yeah.
Steve Costi. So I used to deliver fish around Sydney for him a little bit. Worked for my parents growing up as well.
Yep.
The cafes and the market stores and stuff like that. But, yeah, pretty much just straight from, like, when I finished school, I was... I also Uber drived.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, just before COVID.
How was that?
It was good. Like I told you, I was doing my 2-year stint.
Yep.
So I was just so bored, not doing anything. I was like, I may as well try and make some money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then COVID happened and I stopped. But Uber was funny because I was coaching too at the same time.
Yep.
And that was funny, like, because I was coaching our time and Uber driving, and so, like, you know, you'd have lawyers and doctors and this and that, and they're bowing to you and they're showing respect, and then you're an Uber driver, and then, you know, a lot of the time, they just talk to you like shit. Like, it was just a weird sort of
dynamic,
yeah. You know, it was just like, wow, like, in a different setting, I'd be more respected or this and that, but, you know, it was just something I just sort of dealt with, and I kind of liked it. You know what I mean? Just like, wow, fuck, people can, you know, show their true colours.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's funny, isn't that? Like, you know, in one setting you're getting, people show you lots of respect, and you're like the man, you know, like people want to know what you think about almost everything.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, man, I've got no life experience. I'm just here to teach you jiu-jitsu. Like, don't come to me with your problems.
100%.
But on the flip side, you know, like, then you jump into a car and then you got people that are just, you know, well,
like,
what's
man,
wrong with your life?
I'll never forget one time, like, I picked up this guy and he wasn't even drinking or whatever. And I was like, oh, how's your day, mate? He's like, oh, I just drive. I was like, okay.
Wow.
Wow. You know, it's just such a, like, who does that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's funny. I do the opposite thing. I'm probably like the chatterbox when I get into an Uber driver's car.
Yeah, me
you know,
too.
I'll talk to them, you know, oh, what's going
I just
on?
want to get out of the car.
Yeah. and then it's funny, like, the things that people tell you though.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's one of those ones where it's like, you're going to have this conversation. It's a transactional conversation, but you're not going to see this guy potentially ever again.
Yeah.
And so sometimes people would tell me like the most weirdest, not even weirdest,
They
get deep.
Yeah,
right? Like deep, dark secrets. You know, like I've had Uber drivers like telling me about his marriage falling apart and, you know, what should he have done here?
But it's kind of nice, you know what I mean? Like with another guy, like or whatever, and it's just get it off your chest.
Yeah.
It's never going to
surface. That's right. It's never going to surface. So that's probably why they feel so comfortable to be like, just say it. Who cares? Like,
nah, totally. Yeah.
Probably doesn't. Yeah. Well, I guess my line of questioning probably doesn't help with that. Like, I always try and get deep with someone.
Yeah.
You know, why not? Like, it's like,
I know. Why not?
Yeah. But yeah, like that's interesting. You know, that people would treat you like that. You know, any bad stories from driving Uber?
Oh, mate, it was Australia Day a few years back, and there was a couple of these Scottish guys, and mate, they were drunk. Actually, I'll get to that one next. A guy literally took off his seatbelt, right, like hanging halfway out of my car, and I'm there driving on the Kingsway, and I had to just grab him by the shirt, pull him back in, pulled over, and just kicked him out. Like, and he refused to get out of the car. Him and his mate, and they were like, oh, like, it could have got bad, but yeah, I ended up I just got out of the car, took my keys, and just started walking. I was like, mate, you guys got to go. I'm not taking you, blah, blah, blah. And that was bad. Also had an older guy, would have been maybe early 50s, sort of pass out in the back, throw up all in my car. That sucked. That really sucked. Car stunk like for like a week. But that was, other than that, it was pretty good. That was probably my two biggest dramas. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
just rude people.
Yeah.
There were some really cool people too.
Yeah.
You know?
So did you ever, like when you were doing the travel, you know, to Artarmon and Smeaton, where you like set your Uber app so that you find a ride that wants to go that way?
Mate, I did, because I used to coach the morning classes at Artarmon, and then I'd have to make it to Smeaton Grange by 2 p.m. For the fighter session, which was really intense. And mate, I'd do that sometimes, but sometimes like, because now they've got it, how you can set like only trips towards, you know what I mean? So that was good. I only did it a few times, but otherwise so much driving. Yeah. Already driving from Caringbah to Artarmon to Smeaton Grange, back to Caringbah, it's like 3 hours all up, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's full on.
Well, when you sort of reflect back on all that driving, like what would keep you occupied? Were you listening to podcasts? Were you just listening to tunes?
Yeah, Joe Rogan was great. Lots of music. Man, honestly, I drove to Smeaton on Saturday from here just last week, and it was just there and back. And I used to do there and back every day for 2 years, 6 days a week. You know what I mean? And just Not Bad and I used to do the morning classes out there as well. Not Bad and I just love to do it. And oh man, I was like, wow, I can't believe I used to do this. Like, it was so hard for me. Now it's just 5 minutes up the road. I feel so good. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, you don't. Well, there's good and bads to it, right? Like I think when you do it, like it is a big time drain. When you reflect on it, and you're like, shit, that's a lot of hours in the car.
Oh yeah.
But sometimes it's also nice to have like that longer drive where you got some time to actually clear your head.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it's like if you turn up here and something's going on at home, and it's like, oh, I didn't even have enough time. Like I'm still thinking about home stuff. And then classes started, and then it's like 10, 15 minutes in, and then you're like, oh shit, now I'm like, I got to be on the job, right?
Yeah.
Whereas sometimes when you got that longer drive, by the time you get there, it's like you're already in the mood to go.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Like I love the drive as well. Like always woke up there, you know what I mean? Get the coffee, but yeah, I don't know. I'm happy not doing it now.
So, okay, let's talk about this experience on the crew. So obviously, you tell us about how you got involved with the show in the first place. So for people that don't know, the crew was like a documentary style thing.
It was like a documentary. Like there was still a winner. It was like a reality TV show, if you will, where they picked 3 fighters, 3 surfers, and 3 musicians, and it was just you faced a few challenges. You got to meet some cool people and people in your industry. Like, for example, we got to meet John Wayne Parr and do a few training sessions with him up in Byron Bay, Queensland there. And, I think the musicians, they met someone else. The surfers, I forget. I think it might have been Mick Fanning that they met. I'm not 100% sure. But it was just going, we all competed for a prize, for the winner. Yeah, and I came 3rd out of 3.
Oh no!
But Isaac Hardman, who's a good boxer, really good boxer, fought Jamie Malak, who's now in the UFC. Jamie beat him, got the prize money and the sponsorship. I think it was like Body Science sponsorship and something else. And yeah, went for 2 seasons. So one season was in Australia. The second season, the fighters, went to Thailand. We had a Muay Thai fight over there.
That's cool.
Trained in Tiger Muay Thai. Fought in Bangla Boxing Stadium, which was cool. Yeah. And it was just like how they did it. They were like, it was like a TV show. So it was like, oh, in 3 days, you guys having a Muay Thai fight. So that was pretty cool. Yeah. That was cool.
So you know, when you got involved in that show, like, was there any hesitation, or was it just like, nah, fuck it, I'm gonna do it?
Oh, man, like, I would never say no to Richie. And Richie asked if I was interested, and it was something that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted to fight. I wanted to be like those guys. You know, I was very lucky to be around those, to be around that that environment of just guys pushing each other every day and working hard, and you know, they were all avid fighters competing, and just watching, you know, Richie and Rob go through the Smashes. It was a Smashes series against Canada, I'm pretty sure
Australia
it was
versus
Canada. I'm pretty sure that was it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
So I got to watch them go through it, and Zayn Saliba.
Yes.
Yeah, so we had like 3 or 4 guys going through the same thing, which was awesome. So, and then just them coming out of that, and I just got offered to be on a TV show. I was like, wow, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Did it change your perspective, like, you know, on how TV shows, like, you know, the end product versus when you're going through it, right? Because you got to see all behind the scenes, the production and stuff.
Yeah, like sometimes I'd be like, oh, do you guys mind walking back through and like looking forward? Like, I'd be like, oh, because like they'd just be filming us, you know what I mean? And so like, yeah, 100%. Some things I just watch and cringe and be like, oh, why'd I say that? But it was good. Like, they made everyone look good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be hard in some of those reality TV shows where they're always trying to paint somebody as like the villain.
I know.
And that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
So, what was it like for you, you know, fighting, you know, doing the Muay Thai fight over in Thailand?
Man, that's just one thing. Like, I've never been a good kicker, and I don't know if it's genetic. I claim genetics.
It's in the knees.
I don't cop kicks well. Never have. And I love punching. I love boxing. Do you remember that Combat 8?
Combat 8.
And it was just boxing and grappling, and had a junior Talapau fought on it. Richie.
Yeah.
You remember? Do you remember?
Yeah. Well, you just remind me of
It was at Luna Park.
Yeah.
They used to do it at the Luna Park. I think they did a couple series, sorry. But if MMA, or if they did another thing like that, I would love to do that. Box with the little gloves and then grapple. Yeah. I'd just love to do that.
Shout out to Ian Schaffer is trying to bring that back. Yeah, he's trying to bring that back.
No way.
Yeah.
Please bring it back, Ian.
Yep.
Please.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd love to get on it.
Okay.
But
good to know. I'll let him know.
Ian Schaffer's the man.
Yeah. Yeah, so Schaff was trying to, he wants to do that. Just because it's a little bit different, you know, it's a faster pace. You know, it's pretty high intensity when it's just boxing little gloves and grappling.
It's tough, man.
Yeah.
It's tough, but it's exciting. It's fun.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's always interesting. Like I love all how we got all these like different spin-offs. Like a lot of people were like, why don't you just fucking do MMA then?
Yeah.
But it's like, you know,
don't understand how hard it is, man.
Well, it's fun. Like I think it's also interesting to see, like, you know, combat jiu-jitsu. Combat jiu-jitsu is very different to pankration, and you know, like it develops a different skill set.
Yeah.
You know, in the same way that we see, you know, judo and jiu-jitsu have a different skill set.
Yeah.
Right? Because they focus on different things. So I think it's fun to see those different rule sets.
That combat jiu-jitsu, but I'd rather be punched than slapped, honestly. That's just personal. You know what I mean? Like I reckon they should bring it in, but you can only punch on the ground. I reckon just like a ground and pound thing, but slaps, fuck.
It's also funny because like, you know, I commentated the Fusion show, the Fusion Fighting Championship, shout out to Mateo, down in Melbourne, right? And like, I think there's a real difference between like how some people treat the slaps. Like some people treat the slaps like it's like literally like a disrespect. Like I'm gonna fucking just slap you, bitch slap you, right?
I hate
but
it.
there are some people that when they're thrown, they're not slaps. Like they're basically just open palm strikes.
Palm strikes.
Yeah, and so that was something that I think is really interesting. And I think even like back in the day, Baz Rutten used to talk about it, right? Like he talked about like pulling the fingers back so far that you basically striking with the heel of the palm.
Yeah, he was the best at it.
Yeah. So yeah, it's one of those ones like, you know, yeah, like it sounds like it's meant to be maybe not as. I think the only advantage to perhaps it being open hand is like it's less likely to cut somebody.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But if somebody knows how to actually do a proper palm strike,
oh mate,
like it's gonna hurt just as much as a punch.
You know, 100%. But like, obviously protect your knuckles and everything like that. Like I get it, but just a slap. You know, just the disrespect.
You guys, Chris will see red straight away.
Punch straight away.
All right, Mateo, don't invite Chris down to Fusion.
I'd do it. I'd have a crack. Yeah, I'd always have a crack, but I don't know. It'd be tough.
Just that when you get slapped.
Oh man!
Imagine just having like the red handprint on your face.
Imagine being knocked out with a slap as well.
Mate, it happens.
I know.
Well, that power slap. Do you ever watch that power slap?
Oh man, it gives me anxiety.
When I see that power slap, I just feel like it's why? Why would you do this?
It's insane.
And then there's like the leg kicking one. I think is fun. Like I do the leg kicking one.
I couldn't.
No,
I couldn't. No.
The leg kicking one's kind of fun.
No.
There's also like an offshoot, which is a dick kicking championship. Have you seen that one?
I have.
Like, what the fuck are these people doing, man?
That is full on.
No, fuck that.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah. How about what like some of those Russians are doing? It's like, you know, car jiu-jitsu or like phone box fights. Like, have you seen that?
That's kind of cool.
I reckon like a phone box fight could be fun.
But I feel like the inside of that phone box, like it's metal and glass. Like how do you stop somebody from just like smashing it and cutting themselves up?
It's nuts.
Yeah.
It's nuts. Even, man, what are they doing over there? Right? There's like 5-on-5.
5-on-5, yeah.
Like in a maze or like, I watched one recently with like some younger girl and like this old Russian dude and she's kicking the shit out of him. Like, it's crazy.
What about the armored MMA? Would you ever do that? You seen the guys like wear the full suits of armor and they got like either an axe or a sword and a shield and they slap the shit out of each other? That looks fun.
That would be fun. That would be fun.
I reckon that would definitely like give you more CTE than MMA. Because like you got a helmet, right? And then like
just shake your brain.
Yeah, and people are just like shield striking each other, like you're punching with the shield and you can just see the head just like rattling around in that metal armor.
Yeah.
But I think it looks pretty fun. I'd give that a crack. I think I'd give that a crack.
Yeah, 100%.
It's always one of those ones, especially like if you've done any like traditional martial arts and they teach you weapons. Yeah. Like, you know, well, you got to test, will it really work?
Mate, I'm a big believer you got to try it all once, you know?
So, in terms of the crew, were there any other sort of cool stories behind the scenes that maybe people didn't get to see, or even from your own experience, some cool moments?
Richie... So in Thailand, I fought first. I fought first out of the boys. They fought the next night. I fought on the Friday. I think they fought on the Saturday. And Richie had a couple of his mates from Maroubra. You know, the Maroubra boys are pretty wild guys. Yeah. And they came over and they watched me fight and blah blah. And the other boys are wrestling for their fight. And I fought and I got smashed. Elbows in the corner, bigger dude. Oh. It was, you know, I had a crack. What are you going to do? And then after, like, Richie's two mates from Aruba, bigger dudes, we must have played footy or something and, you know, covered in tats and all that. We're like, come out with us. Like, come out, we'll go for a beer. And anyway, went out for a beer, just me and these two men. Fuck, I don't remember shit. We were walking down Bangar Road, had, like, Chinese pulling me this way and that way, and just keep marching forward. And mate, that was an experience. Like, that was fun. It took me like a few days to recover. We had a training session in the morning, but that was fun. They were nice guys. I won't say their names.
No, no, you don't need to. I think people, you know, you painted a good picture. But you know, it can be some pretty fun times and interesting times, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Did you get yourself into much trouble in Thailand aside from that?
Nah. We were like, we were there for a reason. You know what I mean? We weren't there to party. We were there to win, compete. Like, this is the last season. At the end of the season, Richie was going to make up his mind of who was going to fight. I forget which promotion it was on. It could have been AFC. I think it could have been AFC, like one of the real prelim fights. And Isaac and Jamie ended up fighting. They were a couple of years older than me as well. Yeah. So I think that was just for Richie, and you know, I was in such a good team too. If I really wanted to pursue, you know, I could have had any sort of opportunity under Alex and training with the boys. We had like a real cemented team. So I think Richie sort of knew that, and it was. I was pretty lucky.
just talking about, you know, Alex and you know, obviously the team out at Smeaton, right?
Yeah.
What do you think it is about that team that has made them so successful? You know, obviously we've seen Rob, you know, true gentleman, and obviously, you know, great martial artist, you know, former middleweight champ. Then in that team you've got, like, you know, a whole bunch of middleweights, right? Like Jacob, Issy.
Yeah.
Then in Walter there's
Sione,
Sione,
Koso, and we've also got the Olympian Jaden Lawrence there.
Jaden Lawrence.
Brad Fulmer.
Yep.
Had Theo Hoplite. You know, a lot of these good guys train out there, and you know they've got such a good facility, and they just get anyone's keen to go and train with them. You know, they used to get guys like Jimmy Crude up there, and you know Malaki's even trained out there a few times, trained with the boys. Like, they get a lot of good guys. Tongan Sam.
Yeah,
there's no shortage of training partners, but I think just Alex is very, you know, consistency. Consistency is the key. You know what I mean? And just hard work, showing up, don't complain. You know what I mean? It was just, I used to get anxiety for those sessions out there.
Did you?
I'm not tough enough to train with those guys, man. They're too tough. The guys like Brad Fulmer. You know, he's been going back and forth from Kazakhstan and maybe Dagestan or whatever, and you know, and he was my weight. Had guys like James Vanderakis. Do you remember James Vanderakis? Had a few pro fights back then. Very talented guy. Just the team out there, they're tough, man. You know?
They got some
Murillo.
I don't know Murillo.
No.
I think one of the other ones that I got my eye on is that Braden Ferguson, I think.
Brendan Ferguson, yeah, he's tough, man.
He looked really good at, so he fought on Showdown, I think.
Yeah.
It was the last show, and I was there, and I thought he looked really good.
Yeah. No, he's tough. Even his brother Kyle's tough. I like to see Kyle get a fight, mate. They just got a good solid team, and they just train with each other every day. You know what I mean? And there's no secret, just hard work, you know. And mate, guys like Izzy Fitikefu, who needs to get another. I don't understand what's one FC's problem.
Yeah,
he just got a bonus. You know what I mean? But mate, like, I don't get it. You give a guy a bonus, he just has a mad submission performance, and
still waiting.
And it's just like, what for, man?
Yeah.
Like, get this, you know.
Yeah, he could be a star. Like, you put the media machine behind him. Like, that's the whole.
I don't know. I don't know anyone who works harder than Izzy.
Yeah.
You know.
I've
never seen him complain once. That guy,
mate. Like, Izzy's when he came on the podcast, we were obviously talking about, you know, his life and family and things like that, and like he's got that mindset. Like I always talk about it when a fighter has kids, like, it's going to go one of two ways.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's like, okay, you know, you're either going to turn into like this animal which, you know, goes into a pretty deep and dark place, which I feel is like, that's what Issy does. He's like, you know, I'm fighting for what's mine. Yeah. And like, if you're in my way, I'm going to fucking eat you.
100%.
Right? Like, he's got that in him.
Yeah.
Whereas for other people, and I fall into this category where it's like, I've got kids, it's like, no.
Yeah,
like,
you got to settle down a bit.
Yeah.
After my health, you know what I mean?
Right?
No, for sure. 100%. And both are right.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Both are right. But Izzy, yeah, I feel like, you know, each kid, he just gets a little bit stronger.
Yeah.
A little bit more dad strength, you know?
That's true. Well, he's probably carrying them every day, right? Like, it's that story of the ox, you know?
Yeah.
And you keep carrying them until they're fully grown, and you're carrying a full cow in the back.
Nah, definitely.
Yeah. So, and then so when it comes, for you, like when it comes to coaching and things like that, like, what do you enjoy about coaching? Like, is it something that you just fell into, or is it something that, you know, you see as being like the natural progression? You know, like you've attained this skill set. Well, what do you do with it? Like, why coaching for you?
Look, honestly, it's funny. I was thinking about this the other day. Like, if I was in a room full of people and I had to tell people about my day, I couldn't do it. But like, if I'm in a room full of people and start talking about jiu-jitsu, it just feels so natural, and you know, I just feel so confident doing it. You know, I just love it so much. But in the coaching aspect, again, there's nothing better than seeing like a little kid who's a bit shy, or you know, is a bit, you know, socially awkward or whatever, and let's see him come out of their shell. There's nothing better than seeing someone who's got absolutely no idea. Then 6 months later, he's helping other people who got no idea, and like, you know, he's a problem. You know what I mean? Like I just find it's real, man. Jiu-jitsu works. It works, bro. So I just love being about it.
Yeah.
Make your hobby your life, you know?
Yeah.
Your job, I should say.
Yeah. Did you you know, it's a tough one because a lot of people, you know, they think, oh, you know, when you make jiu-jitsu your life, like, how do you find balance? You know, like for you personally, do you feel like you got a good balance, or are you still trying to find that balance? Like
I was saying before, man, like that's one thing that I've always struggled with, finding a balance between training and, you know, indulging and whatever else. But like it is hard, you know. Like I love coming to the gym.
Yeah.
You know, it's my thing, but I am trying to, like, I do try to get into other hobbies like spearfishing and surfing. I suck at both, but I got mates who are really good, you know, especially spearfishing. I just go out with them and pretend, you know. But like, I'm just, you know, I'm always trying new things, and, you know, just to keep preoccupied. Like if I don't go out on the weekend, like you know, I've got nothing settled, like holding me down, so I can do whatever I want. You know what I mean? So I need something that's with a bit more balance and structure for sure. You know,
with the spearfishing, you're not scared of ever getting stung by another stingray or eaten by a shark?
Honestly, I've been so lucky. Touch wood. Like I've been hand spearing, spearfishing, spear guide. I've been to Vanuatu. I've travelled all up and down the coast. You know, with some of my mates who are just unreal at it, and I've been that lucky. I haven't seen any big shark or threat yet. I saw a baby hammerhead shark, and I was like, oh god, you know. You see like those big bull rays and stuff, and you know they're just like puppy dogs. But I've been pretty lucky. I haven't really had big dramas. Biggest drama was stepping on a sea urchin once. Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Have they got poison or anything in them?
I don't know, but they hurt, man.
They just hurt.
Yeah, you got to get them out. And they sort of expand in your feet.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And then, and like surfing, so you say you're not very good?
Nah, I love the ocean water. Just to get out there and, you know, paddle, but mate, I suck, man. I've been doing it for a while, but I'm not that good. I can stand up, go left and right, but that's as far as it goes. I'm more of like, I like getting out of the water, looking like a surfer.
Carrying the board, flexing the muscles.
Yeah.
Well, you're in the right, in the Shire, you're close enough to Cronulla, right?
That's it, yeah, 100%.
You gotta have the look.
Nah, definitely.
All right. So, you know, when it comes to you then thinking about, you know, your future, like I'm a little bit curious, you know, for you, like how long will you keep competing for, and like what's your sort of goals in that regard?
Mate, that's the beauty of jiu-jitsu, you know, you can compete forever.
Yeah. Master six.
I feel like I'll never stop competing.
Yeah.
You know, as long as my body holds out, I feel I'll compete until I drop, I reckon. But, you know, I love working for Owen and Sarah, and I do want to do a bit more traveling, you know, maybe next year or whatever, and then hopefully settle down a bit more, maybe start my own thing one day. But I'm just so content and happy where I'm at right now, you know.
Do you do much for your recovery? Like, are you doing like...
I should a lot more. You know, I should a lot more. I used to be pretty good with it. I used to have like stretching programs and stuff that, I don't know if you know Justin Lang from Live Athletic, he wrote up for me, and I used to do that. And I used to be pretty religious with the saunas, and never really liked the ice bath too much, but should get into it. But now, mate, I'm just putting the feet up. Yep. Really?
Yep.
Should be stretching more, should be doing more stuff. I warm up my neck pretty well now, but creatine. I feel like creatine just makes me not as small. Oh, not as small, not as sore.
Yep.
And small.
But it helps with water retention.
Yeah, no, and I just feel like that. Like that's something I've sort of implemented recently. Mm-hmm. You know,
you're doing the gummies, or you actually
just like the powder? Yeah,
that's the better way.
Yeah,
the gummies can be hit and miss.
Yeah,
yeah. I think someone was telling me, like, you know, when you actually try and measure what's in the gummies, like you might have one that's got nothing and then one that's got like 5 grams.
Yeah, right.
Just because they make them in a batch, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So, yeah,
100%. So should be doing more recovery. That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
do you?
Yeah. So, funnily enough, like one of the things that I started trying to implement now is before a session. So I'll try and jump in an ice bath.
Yeah.
So there was a study that I found where some guy was basically, I think there's a Japanese. There's two studies. There's a Japanese study, and then there was a guy that like just had tried it as like one of these biohacking type dudes tried it, and it elevated his test level. So, you know, as an older guy, like one of the things, and like in the past, obviously when I was competing, like you have to do bloods every 6 months for CSA. I don't have to do that anymore. So, but at least I've got like some history in terms of where my test was at.
Yeah.
So now it's like, okay, the next time I go do my, like, you know, if I do a general health checkup, I'll ask the doctor to, you know, put me through for a blood test so I can get all those levels checked. But one of the studies was like basically doing cold exposure before training, elevated testosterone levels. So I was like, okay, I can try that. Like it's kind of like a no-brainer if it's like 3 minutes of cold and then go train for an hour or something like that. Like,
no, 100%.
Yeah, and then the other thing I think that there's been quite a few studies on is using sauna post-exercise. So so after the session, so after a session, do 15 minutes in the sauna. Like, you know, I think we sort of like, and I think most people fall into this trap when it comes to recovery is like, we think that we have to do all these different things, right? And like I'm sort of fortunate that there's a facility for me to do that and then literally like go upstairs and train. But if you don't have those facilities, it's like, okay, if there's a sauna nearby and you could do 15 minutes of sauna after your training session, like for me, if that means that maybe I cut my rolls down by one roll or something like that to sort of fit that in and still make it back to whatever other engagements I have.
Yeah.
I'm probably getting more benefit from doing the 15 minutes of sauna than getting the last roll in. It's not as fun.
No.
Definitely not as fun.
Yeah.
But like, I think, you know, taking that longer term view of like, okay, well, what's going to be better for my overall health, you know? And sometimes like, you know, like it probably sucks to say, but like, you know, I'm 41 now. So it's like, there's not been a day that I've woken up and I haven't been sore. Right. And I don't remember always feeling that way. Right. So at some point in the journey, like the age has definitely like crept up in the sense of like how the body feels like, and most people wouldn't even know that. Like, you know, I'm not going to complain about it. Like I just know that I need to warm up a little bit more. And so when it comes time to actually getting into things, like for me to do a hard session, I'll need to make sure that I actually have spent my time doing the low heart rate stuff and building up my intensity. So then I can go hard.
No, for sure.
So I think those things help. And I think the other thing, and I definitely don't do enough of this at the present moment, but I'm a big advocate for like, you know, actually just like listening to your body. When I say that, it's like not like, you know, meditation or something like that. It's more like, you know, going to the gym and doing movements and then finding out what hurts and working into those movements.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because like if you like, yeah, like I feel like I know that I've got imbalances in my body. So when I have the time to actually do that and like listen to what's hurting and then spending the time to whether to like breathe and like stretch it and like move through that pain or load it and put it under some tension and then try and activate some of the muscles that probably have gone to sleep.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a funny story actually. And this I think this is an interesting one, but like, can you wiggle your ears? No?
Can't even feel them.
Can't even feel them, right?
No.
So wiggling your ears isn't actually about your ears having muscles in them to move. It's actually the muscles at the back of your head. So there's muscles that sit at the back of your head. And when you like, I'll try and show you. Or if I do this, you can see my ears will move a little.
Yeah.
Right? You won't be able to see it on the video. I'm too far away. But Chris can see that my ears are moving by moving that part of the scalp.
Yeah,
so
there's a little wiggle there.
Yeah, there's a little wiggle there. And so how I sort of discovered this was because obviously, you know, when you start getting a bit older and you get conscious about losing hair and things like that, you start looking to, okay, what can you do? Now, this is pre, you know, everybody going to Turkey days. Nowadays, people just go to Turkey, they get it sorted. They have a holiday, they spend 10 grand and they come back with a full head of hair. But like one of the things that like I found when I was like doing some study and research into this was people saying, oh, you know, you if you have a healthy scalp, like it's going to allow you to obviously retain your hair longer because your head's healthy, your scalp muscles are healthy. And one of the things it said is like, oh, you know, can you actually like, you know, when you feel your scalp, like does it feel hard or does it feel like it's soft and malleable, right? And part of having a soft and malleable scalp is like your muscles can actually move. And at the time, like I was like, what do you mean like your muscles can move? Like, yeah, I can raise my eyebrows and do that kind of stuff. But they were saying like, no, you need to actually be able to feel like you can move your scalp from the front to the back of your head. And I'm like,
wow,
how do you do that? And then then I was like, so I probably spent like 4 weeks every day looking in the mirror, trying to move these muscles that I didn't even know existed.
Yeah, right.
Right? And then one day it just clicked, and like it hurt, like, because like the muscles had never been used.
Yeah.
But I obviously managed to build some connection to these muscles at the back of the head so that my ears would wiggle.
Wow.
And so like it sounds like such a stupid thing. Like I think a lot of people would probably think that you're either born with that or you're not.
Yeah.
But it taught me something like that. Hey, okay, that means that there's probably muscles in your body that you don't know exist.
No,
and you see this like in first timers when they come in,
when
right?
they come in, they're sore for a week.
And they're unco.
Yeah.
Right? Like, because
no idea.
they're obviously the connections between their brain and their arm or their hand or whatever, it's not as sharp as it should be, right? The connection just seems like it's obviously like it's like a laggy internet connection kind of a thing. So so when I worked out that, oh, okay, like it took me 4 weeks to do this, to build up that connection, and it's like now that I can do it, like you're probably going to go home for the next 4 weeks and be like, try and you'd be like, Johnny's right. but yeah, once I worked out that I could do that, then it was like, okay, well, what other muscles like don't I use that probably have some kind of benefit? Right. And so that's why I talk about this idea of like listening to your body. It's just like, shit hurts. Like, okay, well, find out like what is the reason why that's hurting. And a lot of times, like, so as an example, like I have like I'll wake up with like a sore lower back.
Yeah.
But my it's not because my lower back's sore. It's because I have tightness in my hips. And so it's like, whether it's my psoas muscles at the front, like it could be those muscles that are pulling, and it's pulling my hip slightly forward. So then it's always like my back's under tension kind of a thing. So, when I spend the time to actually like, try and do some releases and breathing and some exercise, then I feel great.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't even know, but like that doesn't change the fact that I wake up every morning. I'm just like, fuck, I'm sore.
I know. And it's just one of those things too, like the longevity from recovery. That's why I feel like maybe it's because I'm still like, I'm not even 30 yet. I'm 29 next month. Maybe it's because, I've still got a little bit of youth on my side. I'm not feeling too bad, but I know like if I can start recovering and do something now, later on, I'm going to be sweet, and I'm used to it, and my body's, otherwise I'm just going to be like boom to boom, and fuck, I'm not going to have an idea. Sorry for swearing.
No, I've sworn plenty. Yeah, like it's that
You know
old
what I
adage.
mean?
Yeah,
I got to get into it.
Yeah, if you don't use it, you lose it, right?
100%.
So flexibility, if you don't use it, like your body's like, well, I don't need that anymore.
No,
right?
Definitely.
So yeah, like it made me more of an advocate of like cross-functional training, like, not just focusing on jits, but also like that's why for me I've always done striking arts as well.
Yeah.
And I just
breaks
feel like
it up a bit.
Yeah, like it's good for your body. It's good to so like I used to be very indoctrinated would probably be the right word. Like this was the way to train.
Yeah.
Because I came from that traditional martial arts.
Yeah.
Where I was like, no, everything that you need is all here.
Yeah.
Right. And now like in today, like nowadays, I actually have to make sure that I don't go too far the other way of like, you don't go and throw all of it out. Like I shouldn't go and throw out all the things that I learnt from the traditional martial arts.
Yeah.
Just because I feel like this is this is more useful to me. It's more useful in a particular setting.
Yeah.
It's more useful if you want to be able to fuck people up on the ground.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? But it's not necessarily more useful for you if you're looking for overall body health.
No, for
right?
sure.
So one of the, I was saying this to another older guy the other day, because he's been doing a lot of contrast therapy. So he does like hot to cold, cold to hot, and we'll do like 4 or 5 of those sessions in one sitting. I'm like, man, you got time. Like I don't have an hour to sit there and go back and forth between the sauna and the cold plunge.
Yep.
But that's why I said, break it up. I could do 3 minutes of cold plunge before jumping in and doing my rolls. And it just means that I definitely have to start slower because everything is frozen.
Yeah, no.
Right? And I can afford to cut one roll short and do 15 minutes of sauna.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's an easy way to break it up. And if that's going to give me the most amount of gain, perfect.
100%.
Right?
Just going back about the traditional martial arts, what martial arts have you done throughout all the years? Because you were saying you had a couple black belts or something.
Oh yeah, so I did karate as a kid.
Oh, cool.
And then I trained a Chinese kung fu style.
Yep.
And I did that for majority of my life. And then Yeah,
like
so
jiu-jitsu and
then
whatever
jiu-jitsu,
else. And
kickboxing, Muay Thai.
Wow.
Yeah.
Been around.
Yeah, yeah. I've gotten around. It's good because like it was funny. Like when you spar with someone, you can sort of like pick up on where their style's from.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's always a testament to anyone that does MMA. It's like when people stand with you, they go, "Oh, you're a striker," and then they grapple with you, "Oh, you're a grappler."
Yeah.
Right. And then when they wrestle with you, "Oh, you're a wrestler."
Yeah.
Right. Like that.
Yeah.
That's like a good testament to go and say
No,
you got a
definitely.
well-rounded skill set.
100%. You've got to train each one.
Yeah.
Individually.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it's So I sort of always think that the artistry comes from you as the individual putting it together.
Yeah.
I didn't used to think this way because obviously when you do a traditional martial art, it's like, oh, that's how the style's supposed to look.
No, for sure.
Right. But then, nowadays, my opinion's more that, I like to see individuals like bringing out their skill set. And so I find this to be an interesting one because especially with mixed martial arts fighters, when you look at like professionals, right, they have their own innate style. Like when you watch Rob fight, like it's going to look very different.
His hands are down. Yep. He's very side on. That's like a
Bladed.
karate sort of base.
Karate base.
Like Wonder Boy even
that kind of style, right? And so, I like always looking at that kind of stuff because it's like, what would you, if you were sort of building your like dream fighter kind of a thing, what would they look like? If I was to like build my own self as a dream fighter, what would that kind of look like? What kind of striking would I want to have? What kind of wrestling would I want to have? What kind of jiu-jitsu would I want to have?
Yeah.
And working out what that individual style is. And then sometimes you pick styles that are completely wrong for your body type.
100%.
And then you only realize it when it doesn't work.
No, for sure. That's why like GSP was so ahead of his time.
Yeah.
Wasn't he?
And
just everywhere he looked good.
Yeah, but he was a guy. See, this goes back to what I was saying of like he trained each of the disciplines separately.
Yeah.
He was doing his boxing with Freddie Roach.
Yeah.
He was training with the Canadian wrestling team.
Yeah.
He obviously did karate as a kid. He was doing his jiu-jitsu with Firas and John Danaher.
Yeah.
Right? And then...
He is, isn't he? Hey, John Danaher now.
Yeah.
Not always, or...
Yeah, I think from...
Really?
Yeah, like there's...
I know he's been in his corner.
Long time.
Yeah,
right. You look at the people in his corner, right? Like,
Insane.
they were experts in their individual fields.
Yeah.
Right? And so, like, that is...
He was at TriStar, wasn't he?
He was at TriStar?
Yeah.
Yep. So I think, because I read GSP's book, and I think one of the things he talked about was like he was a garbage man for a while.
Yeah.
And so basically he would like, save his money from being a garbage man and then go down to train with Danaher for his jiu-jitsu.
Wow.
And like these were all the sacrifices that he was making along the way to get that experience, right?
Pretty insane, eh? Like I remember, I haven't read his book, but I remember him saying that he was bullied very hard as a kid as well. It's sort of just,
Yeah.
similar to Mike Tyson. Just just have that fire.
Yeah.
From that, eh? Like,
it's
insane.
It goes two ways, right? Like this is where that anger or that rage can be a powerful thing. Like I did a podcast with Junda. He owns Hojak, the Malaysian restaurants, and he told this story, right, where he got bullied in high school, and it was basically, so he grew up in Malaysia and there's a lot of gangs.
Yeah.
And so what happened was like this guy was like, oh, I want to fight you, and then he's like, like Junda was like, I know I'm going to lose, so there's no point. And he was like, no, I don't want to fight you. And he goes, okay, if you don't want to fight me, then you have to stand there and let us all slap you. And it's going back to your whole thing about disrespect, right?
Yeah.
So like he had to stand there, and then one by one, like this whole line of guys slapped him.
Wow.
And like he said, like, I was in such a rage, because I asked him, like, did you go home and burst into tears? And he goes, no, I was in a fucking rage, right? And then like he channeled that anger into like this empire that he's built now. Yeah. Right. And he even like looked into this guy that he had that problem with, and he asked like some people that he knew in the Malaysian government, like, where's this guy now? And he's a criminal. Like he's on the wanted list for rape and murder or something like that. And you can see like this total divergence in how their lives turned out, right?
Yeah.
But like sometimes you need that fire, right? Having that chip on your shoulder, right, means that you black out a lot of the noise, and you just fucking do what you need to do to earn what you want to earn, right? Like you if you want to be successful, like in his case, he tuned out all the noise, right? Have you ever felt any, like, has anyone ever disrespected you in that way?
Nah, I've been pretty lucky.
Yeah.
You know, I always got along with everyone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I've had some disputes over a game of pool for sure, like at the pub, but you know, nothing serious.
Whoa. How can you have a dispute over a game of pool? Like, were they moving the ball or cheating? Or?
I just don't know the rules, you know?
Oh, okay.
There's an etiquette you got to follow.
Yeah. The dollar coin on the table?
100%. 100%.
Are you any good at pool?
I go okay.
Yeah.
I go okay.
Did you ever play for money?
I used to do used to have comps at Miranda Hotel and down at Norvies, used to do a bit, and you know, my dad was a really good pool player. We have a pool table at home.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I just sort of taught me, and just something I like doing.
Yeah.
You know?
Pub tables are always interesting because
the holes are like this big.
Yeah, huge.
They're designed to smash them out.
Yeah.
You know, but it's good. Like, I've got like a pretty big table, so like when I'm playing, the pockets are honest.
Small. Yeah.
You know, it's just because you go to like a pub table and it's a lot easier. You know what I mean?
My mate had a pool table, and we used to say, like, his pockets were cheap. You know, like they're gonna give you nothing. They give you nothing. You had to be on the money to get to score in his pockets.
100%.
But I think there's also something to the focus of it, right? When you focus on something like that, and you're lining things up.
Oh, definitely. Like, Joe Rogan really loves pool. Have you seen that? He really likes pool. It's just, you know, and I like the competition aspect too. It's only you out there. You know what I mean?
Do you play better with some drinks or without?
There's like a perfect amount of drinks you gotta have. I think like between 3 to 6, you're pretty loose and relaxed. If any more than that, no chance. Sometimes it can be a bit too cold coming in if you don't have a beer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's got to get the edge off, especially if you're competing.
Yeah. So you won a few tournaments?
No, I wouldn't say a few tournaments, but a couple of the pool comp nights. Yeah, I've won one at Miranda and a couple at Canala Northies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's a game that's probably, like, you know, it's still around, but I don't think as many people play nowadays.
Nah.
Yeah?
No.
It's like a novelty now. It's kind of disappointing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but it's, you know, it's just something to do.
Yeah.
You know, you go to the pub, have a few beers and just have a crack.
Fair enough. All right. Well, I don't know. Is there anything else you want to talk about? Otherwise, is there any sponsors or any shout outs that you need to give out?
Oh, yes. I'm wearing Akuma Fightwear. They've made a custom kit for me for Subversion. Also want to shout out Gunamatic Constructions, Doyle Electrical, Loan Options, and Think Again Tattoo. They've always been helping me just prepare and just everything else. You know, always been supportive.
Think Again Tattoos. What a name.
Mike Anderson. He trains with he used to fight.
Yeah?
He used to fight. He was like one of the first guys in Australia to beat a guy in an MMA fight with a footlock.
There you go.
A straight footlock. But no, he's funny. He just got his brown belt off Lucas Sachs at Tarman, and, you know, he's good mates with Julian.
Yep.
And, he's a funny guy, man.
Tattoo-wise? So what do you got?
I got a kookaburra.
A kookaburra?
Yeah.
So you can laugh at people?
Yeah, that's it when I'm choking now. Kookaburra's got the last laugh. Nah.
That's a good one. That's a good one. You got any others, or that's it?
I've got like 4 more, but they're all on my ass.
What? All on your ass?
Yeah.
They're not names, are
Hidden
they?
ones. Nah. Nah. Just silly ones.
Who G'd you up to get those?
The ones.
Yeah, like, is there a story behind them?
I got one with my cousin. It's our grandfather, and that's a pretty cool one. That was like my first ever tattoo.
Yeah.
Then I've got one that me and my other mate, we did it on each other.
You guys did it yourself?
Yeah, it was just at a party. It was pretty funny. And then I just got another one. It says DLB, which means Dealer Boy, because went to school at Dealer, played footy with Dealer, and it was just, you know, a bunch of us did it. Yeah.
So hang on, I got to go back to this. So where did you get the tattoo gun from?
Oh, I don't even remember, man.
It was just there at the party, and you just like, fuck it, let's go.
Yeah.
It's so random.
I know. Lucky I don't have to see it.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll wrap up there because I think the class is going to come in soon. So
all good. No worries.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you. Thanks, guys.
Chris Casaceli on Instagram. You know, hey, there's another Chris Casaceli out there.
Yeah, he lives, I think, in New York or New Jersey.
Okay.
We talk. We're like the same age. He's like a full musician as well.
Really?
Yeah.
So how did you?
We're gonna meet one day.
No way. So
Yeah.
what, did you just reach out to him on social?
Yeah, like I don't know. I think he messaged me first, and he was like, "Oh, like you," because he has like mine's just Chris Casaceli.
Yeah.
He wanted my name. He has a number in his name. He's like, "Man, like I want to have your name on Insta."
Yeah.
He wanted to get it, and then we just started becoming friends.
Well, too bad, Chris. Whatever you have on Instagram handle
There's
is
only one Chris Casaceli,
and he's got it. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.